Hello, everyone. My name is Lin Huyn. I'm the founder and host of Fame to Fame. We're here today with a very special guest. He's a George Mason University men's basketball starting forward, probably one of the best post players in the country right now, in my opinion. His name is Josh Oduro. How you doing, Josh?
Good. Appreciate you having me on.
Being 6'9", about 235 pounds. I don't know you by your early years, but I'm assuming you're always probably one of the bigger guys growing up. With that being said, was basketball kind of always like around there? Did your dad or did your parents kind of put that around you, or how did basketball start for you?
Yeah, it's actually funny. It's not something that started out real early for me. I was always a big kid. I liked playing soccer when I was a kid. Actually, my dad's
Okay.
from Ghana, so that's something he really like emphasized. Um, but as I got older, I was bigger. I was a little bit slower than the other kids playing soccer, so he wanted me to keep playing sports, and so he told me to try out basketball, and so I did. I started playing for GBA, Gainesville basketball, and then it just took off from there.
How old were you when you started playing?
How old was I? Started playing GBA probably like when I was in like sixth grade, fifth grade, something
Okay.
like that.
So not too
Yeah,
late, but yeah, a lot of kids, I mean, nowadays they start playing right when they able to walk. So yeah. But God,
yeah.
I mean,
I just,
soccer, football, I should say, is the dominant sport over there.
oh yeah, for sure.
Dude, being from the area, did you grow up like watching basketball and so forth, like the Wizards, or did you follow soccer more?
Yeah, no, I mean, I follow a little bit of soccer, but I love the Wizards. I love watching John Wall play. I
Yeah.
feel like he's a DC legend, and just seeing him while I was coming up was really inspiring.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, like growing up again, you started around the sixth grade. You played at Battlefield High School for about 2 years, transferred to Paul VI, which is a really highly recognized prep school, not only in the area but within the country. It's groomed a lot of talented players that's even made it to the pros, including my good friend Eric Green. What led you to Paul the Six? I'm assuming to kind of get more recognition, but like, what's your story behind there and how that recruiting process went?
Yeah, I was just talking about my dad. I was talking to my dad about this the other day. It's crazy how it all happened. I was playing AAU in one of their gyms one time, and I had a pretty decent game. And I was a big kid growing up, so my knees was always hurting. And my dad went to go get ice for me from one of the coaches, and they locked them in the doors and told them that they wanted me to come to PVI. And so that was my sophomore summer. And then they did a little bit of recruiting on me, and I decided to transfer over.
How was that transition? I'm sure it was probably the competition level was a little bit higher. I mean, Battlefield, it was a public school going to like Paul VI, which is a prep school. Just folks actually getting recruited to play. Can you maybe talk about like how that transition was?
Yeah, I mean, I was playing every day in practice, going against like Olympians like Jeremy Roach. I played against Brandon Slater was my teammate, Trevor Keels, Doug McDaniel. I mean, it was high level every day, lots of competition. And so I feel like it was good for me because you know how they say iron sharpens iron. And so it was good for me to be around people that were highly recognized and tremendous players, even now.
We're at George Mason now. What led you to Mason?
Um, I'd probably say my coach, my original coach isn't here anymore, but they had a good coaching staff of really good players, like really good people. Um, Made me feel welcome when I was on my visits. It's also a pretty good academic institution, and it was close to home, so it checked off the most boxes for me. And playing in the A10 is good because it's a real competitive league.
No, it definitely is. It's day 10. I feel like, especially what you guys did. When I say you guys, George Mason, I think a lot of folks they didn't hear about George Mason until the big Final Four run, which happened a few years back. Being myself, but I remember watching that on television, and I became like one of the biggest George Mason's fan. But ever since then, there's so much transition that's happened. You guys have definitely changed the landscape of mid majors. I think nowadays, when you look at the big tournament, people are not surprised to see like schools like George Mason or anyone from the A10 that's doing really well. You see more than usually than just one team. In the past, you'd be lucky to have one team from a mid major, but I think from you guys at George Mason, you guys have changed that landscape. Do you remember that, like the Final Four team? Did you grow up watching that at all, or did you remember hearing about that?
Nah, I had no idea until I came here for my visit.
That's funny.
Yeah, yeah. I think I was like 4 years old when it happened.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna say
wasn't
you're
really
probably
paying
younger.
attention.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, that was exciting times being from the area, man. Again, everyone knows. Like, it's funny because I remember watching it. People are like, "Oh, this small school, George Mason, Virginia." I'm like, George Mason's not small. I mean, it's not now. It wasn't back then. It's one of the largest schools in Virginia. But again, it just shows you what having success can just do. It just really just platform and blossomed into not only like a regional area, but everyone across the country knew about George Mason. Kind of similar like DCU recently. Playing local, how do you like it? I mean, before we hopped on, you said you enjoyed it, but like, what are some pros and cons playing local? Because I think some athletes, they want to go way further, but for you, you chose to stay nearby.
Yeah, something that I really like, and going back a little bit, how you were talking about the Mason Final Four run. I've been able to like work out and like train in the off season with a lot of like Mason legends that were part of that run, and also other bids in the big tournament. So I was able to work out with Brian Allen pretty much like every summer since I started in my high school. And then I've been able to work out with Will Thomas, another Mason
Yep.
legend. I've also been able to work out with Lamar Butler. He was actually an assistant coach at PVI. And
Yep.
so that's one of the nice things, being able to work with the alumni who have a vested interest in us as players and want to see us get better. I also get to see my family. I'm a big family guy. So it's really all around a nice experience.
I actually interviewed Lamar Butler about a year ago. So good guy. And we definitely highlighted a lot about that Mason run. So that's cool that you had a chance to spend time with him. And yeah, he was an assistant coach, like you said, at politics. So small world. Was it your number one choice going to Mason, or what did you have in your mind?
Yeah, it was my number one choice. And like I said, there was a lot of different factors going into it.
Mm-hmm.
But the guys that were here, they're really good people, like accepting me open arms. This is somewhere I could come and develop, continue to get better. And that's one of the biggest things that I pride myself on as a player is the fact that I want to continue to get better, because I know I'm not the player I was before, and I'm not the player I'm going to be in the future.
What
Yeah.
were some of the things that the coaches told you at the time when they recruited you? Like, what did they like about you, or some things they wanted you to work on? Can you kind of talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not no secret. When I came in here, I was a little chubby. I wasn't that good at, like, my body hadn't really caught up to the college
Mm-hmm.
level. And so one of the nice things about being able to come here, we have a great strength and conditioning program with our weightlifting coach, Andy, and he was able to get me right a little bit. I started taking my nutrition more seriously, and just continue to rep out different things. And now I'm able to do more things that I weren't able to come in doing. Like, I shoot the three a lot more than I did my sophomore, freshman year. Yeah, it's just continuing trying to be a better player.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed is from your freshman year to where you're at now, your junior year, you've progressed each and every year, which is, that's ideal for everyone, but that doesn't always happen. So it really shows the work that you put in, right? For not only physique wise, but your skill sets. Right off the bat, you got playing time. Like, you played a lot. I think you started about 11 games. What do you attribute that to? Like, what was the mindset going into it, and how'd you kind of keep yourself ready?
Yeah, so coming in as a freshman, I just came in with the mindset that I'm going to do whatever my coach asked me to do, and try to be good in my role. And coming in as a freshman, I had some really good examples like AJ Wilson, Greg Calix, of what that looked like. And so trying to emulate what they did, more geared towards my skill set. That's really what I was trying to do. Just do the little things like play defense, rebound the ball, pass the open teammates, set good screens, stuff like that.
I remember watching you your freshman year up until where you're at now. And again, do you statistically, like, every category you went up, like, what work do you put in? Like, you talk about, like, listen to the coaches, and you lost a lot of weight and kind of changed it to more muscle. But like, what are some things you like? How's your eating habit? You said that's gotten better. Can you kind of talk about what's day in the life of your workouts, and like, what do you eat? How do you kind of get your body ready and get yourself ready?
Yeah, I'd probably say the biggest attributing factor to that would be my summertime workouts. Um, I have a trainer, and he's more than a trainer. He's like part of my family, really.
Right.
Darius Wilson, I think I mentioned him earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And we would get in the gym every day. And so when the pandemic hit, it was tough because there's not too many gyms open. We found this one gym around the way that we were able to get into, but we had to get in real early because they closed at like midday, and we would get in and we would do skills training. After that, I would do weightlifting, take a break, eat, and then we would play 5-on-5 with like other good Division I players from the area, some pros and some elite high schoolers. And so, like doing that, it was probably like a 6-hour uh, workload every morning, and doing that, it really helped me become a better basketball player on the court. And then other things like my diet, I cut out all sugars and carbohydrates for that summer as well. So I was eating like a keto diet, which is heavy on proteins and lipid fat. So in doing that, I was able to shed a lot of the baby fat I had on.
Yeah, with age that happens too. But no, that's good to hear, because I think a lot of folks, again, we kind of talked about it beforehand too. There's always folks that's like athletic, they kind of use that to themselves, but some folks have to work at it, but they don't really know how to. So for someone like you that can really talk about how you did it, I think that's very valuable, because it's more than just being athletic, but there's other parts to it, like having a good diet and really sticking to it. So that's awesome to hear. And you talked a little bit about COVID, how that was pretty tough with the gyms being closed down. It's tough for everyone, I think, just mentally, just trying to keep yourself ready. But I can only imagine for you, coming into the season, you're all pumped up, ready for like a sophomore year last year, and then the pandemic happened. And even now, I know you guys had a couple of games postponed. How's that impacted you as a player?
Yeah, it was tough. Last year, it was kind of a weird season because of the way we were handling everything with our mandates. But during the summer, it was probably the toughest because we didn't really know what was going on. COVID was still new, and just making sure that we're not regressing as an individual. And that's something coaches and people close to me, and that's just my mindset. I didn't really want to regress. I wanted to continue to get better. And so it doesn't matter, whatever little stuff I could do is what I was going to be able to do.
That's good. You always got to be ready. Just never know. And I talked to a lot of people about that too. It's just like, you never know you're gonna have your chance, or you never know when the season's going to start back up or the next game. So just gotta, regardless of what it is, just stay ready. Well,
Sure.
ready this season, you guys have had some pretty big wins already. I know conference play is just kind of starting up. I think for you guys, I'm not too sure if you guys even had conference play yet, but you guys have pretty big wins already. You guys beat Maryland, which is ranked. Had to beat Georgia. Had a really close game against powerhouse Kansas. What's been the mindset going on into your third year now being a junior, being like a seasoned guy?
Yeah, my mindset is just continuing to go out and do what I know I can do, be the best version of myself. And the coaching staff has really emphasized us and the principles that we have. They really emphasized defense and playing fast and making the right plays on offense. And so when we're out there, it doesn't matter who we're playing, our standards are standard. And so just making sure that every day we're executing it the best we can. So yeah, it doesn't really matter who we play. We play some really good teams, and as long as we continue to work on what we do as a team, I feel like we're doing a good job.
Looking back at your first day coming on to Lake Mason and where you're at now, what would you tell your old self?
Just keep working. Always trying to get better. It doesn't matter hard days or the easy ones. You just got to keep having the same mentality. You got to meet victory and defeat with the same attitude.
I like that. Well, you have another year left after this. I mean, it's still early season for your junior year. There's a lot of games to be played. Hopefully I see you guys in the tournament too, the March Madness. But after basketball is over at Mason and you look forward, is NBA in the pictures? I'm sure playing pro is. Like, where do you want to go? What's your aspiration moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, everyone wants to play in the NBA, and that's something I want to do as well. But I feel like the most important thing for me is to make sure that I do what I have to do right now to be the best individual player I can be. And so wherever that takes me is where it takes me. But right now I'm just focused on the process of continuing to have to try to stack good practice days and build good habits.
Yeah, absolutely. I mentioned this a little bit earlier. I think you being a fan of basketball, watching it, keeping up with it, the game has changed a lot where everything's perimeter play. Like even the bigs are shooting threes, half court shots pretty much. We're back when I was like growing up watching. You had the Shaquille O'Neals, Alonzo Mourning, the big guys down low. For me personally, when I watch you, you're probably if not the best in the country, one of the best post players. Like scoring around the basket is at ease for you. But when you look at the NBA now, how do you compare your game to where the NBA is? Like, is there any adjustments you think you need to make? I know you can shoot too, but is there anything that you internally want to do to kind of prep yourself and head towards that direction?
I mean, yeah, I want to continue to get better. And like you said, the NBA is changing into more of a fast pace and like a shooting league almost.
Mhm.
And just making sure that I'm able to continue to do that thing. So working on my shooting, making sure that my condition's in a good place where you can keep up with NBA pace. That's good. But like I said, I just want to continue to get better. And part of my progression is I feel like it would allow me to play in the NBA. But like I said, I don't want to think about anything like that. I'm more of a day-to-day person.
Right. Take care of business now and everything else will play out. Regardless of what sports, everyone's been talking about college players should get paid. So it was until recently, NCAA has allowed college athlete monetize on their name. And for yourself, you actually signed the NIL deal. So you're one of the first players to actually monetize your name. I think for some folks, they're not familiar with that. Can you maybe explain what that means? And can you talk about your partnership with Jim McKay?
Yeah, I can. NIL is really important for basketball players. For however long the NCAA has existed, there have been tons of athletes who have built up a name, an image, and a likeness, like the name implies, but they haven't been able to monetize off of it, and it's been sad because I've seen a lot of former student athletes who weren't able to do that. So seeing that is really important for us because we get to, in a sense, be individuals and profit off of our image. So I think it's really good. And it was nice. I talked to Kathy McKay down at Jim McKay Chevrolet, and we ended up coming to an agreement. And so I feel like it's a good step for college athletics, and it's good for our local communities.
Yeah, I was like stoked to see that. And I was honestly a bit surprised because I honestly thought, this is something new. This is probably going to focus more on like the Power Five conference. And you being local, I was so excited to see that. Can you talk about maybe like what does that even mean though, like a partnership? Like how does that work? Is there any regulations that you need to keep in mind of like do you meet with them monthly? Do you have to wear their outfits? Like what does that mean for you?
Yeah, so there are regulations, and I talk to my compliance people every day about that, just to make sure that we're following all the rules that come with that. And George Mason has done a really good job of making sure that we're able to do everything we can in the right way. And with Jim McKay Chevrolet, I wear a T-shirt at the end of games, and I do interviews with the Jim McKay Chevrolet symbol on my chest, and that way people know.
That's pretty cool, man.
And,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
really cool to see nowadays. I think a lot of folks, when you're playing sports, you want to focus, like you said, you take things day to day. You're focused on what's in front of you now. Basketball is being it in your junior year. But if you weren't playing basketball, for instance, there's always, if you were to play NBA, you're gonna retire one day. Some folks, injuries happen, forbid anything like that even happens to you. But what's plan B for you? If you weren't playing basketball, what do you see yourself doing?
yeah. So an important thing for me and my family is to make sure that I'm continuing to be a good student. Student comes first in all of this, and so right now I'm a business major with a focus in management, and so making sure that I'm financially literate is something that I want to make sure I'm able to do, so I can pursue all ventures of business and not just something with basketball. I would always like to be involved, whether that's to try coaching after I'm done playing, but I have enough backup plans just to make sure that I'm following my the correct educational path.
Absolutely. Hey, I have a business background too, and I would say you can apply everywhere, especially with management background. And there's a lot of folks you probably hear about. They graduate with something, but they don't really use it. I think for business management, that goes across the board. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. So I think that's a great route. Last thing I want to just ask you, and you kind of hit on it a little bit throughout the interview, is what are things you share with a young athlete that's in middle school or high school and they're trying to one day get a scholarship just like you can play Division I?
Yeah, I would say put in the work. There's no supplement for hard work. It really defines you as a player, and at the end of the day, you can't make any excuses. If you put in enough hard work, no matter where you start, you can eventually get where you want to be. And so, I would just tell every kid watching this that just keep working.
Appreciate your time, man. And again, being local, like you said. And again, I didn't know you like when you first came in, but I remember seeing photos of you and seeing who you are now, bro. You're like a totally different person, just your whole body and just your game. So that's awesome to hear. So I wish you the best of luck, and I'm gonna be rooting for you the next couple of years into the pros. So you're young, man. You got a lot ahead of you. But anything you want to say before we wrap up?
No, I think we hit it all. I just appreciate you having me on this show.